Hello and welcome to today's 4Ps podcast. I am your host, Trunnis Goggins, and usually, if you've been watching this podcast for a long time, you know that I have a lot of guests from Australia mainly, and then I have a lot of guests from here in North America, Canada, the United States. And what I try to do is if I do an Australian broadcast, I will go the very next week and I'll try to alternate it and come back here. I'm always going back and forth across the Pacific Ocean with my guests. I was recording the guest yesterday, and if you also, I'm going to give you a little bit of hint on how I do this. What I usually do is I record my episodes probably weeks in advance because I do that just because, you know, my travel schedule with book tours and all that other stuff and all the other stuff going on. I try to record so far in advance so I will have everything ready. So all I have to do is probably an open and close, and then call it a day, and then we release the podcast. And I told you last week that we were going to have Wes O'Lee, who was a friend of mine, on the podcast episode today, or this week coming up. I couldn't do that. And the reason why I couldn't do that is not because of anything with Wes O'Lee. It's awesome. That episode will be coming out next week for sure. But I interviewed someone by the name of Danni Mace yesterday, and she is a brand new professional boxer from Western Australia. So that's like the Perth area, all that other good stuff. It's out there. She says it's out in the bush. And as I was interviewing her, and I'm not talking the boxing. I mean, she's a boxer and she's really good at what she does, and she became professional really fast. I'm not talking about that part. I'm talking about this part and this part right here. She has strength that I have never seen before. She has a determination that is absolutely amazing. And while listening to her story, and you may even see it in my facial expressions. Now, I will tell you this. She is out in the bush, as she calls it, in Western Australia. So her internet connection was not that good. So you're not going to see good quality video of her, and that is okay. You do not have to see good video content of her, at least right now. You will eventually. But right now, I'm going to tell you, there is some ins and outs on that. I really wanted to record it. That was the best we can do. You need to hear her message. So those of you watching on YouTube, that's great. You know, you might have to close your eyes because, you know, you probably don't want to look at me. I wouldn't either. But her story, just listen to her story. Listen to where she's come. And you'll see my facial expressions of one of amazement because she is amazing. She's absolutely amazing. And I think someone needs to hear her story immediately. I don't want to sit on this podcast episode. I don't want to sit on this interview at all. And so I am going to make the executive decision, so to speak, and play her podcast now, going out of order a little bit and moving things around. Yes, but I'm going to play her podcast episode now because, again, the struggle, the determination, she represents by far the 4 Ps of you. She represents the purpose. She represents the passion. She represents the planning part, and she represents the persistence more than anything. I've never seen someone so persistent as she is. We'll be back right after this.
Your story matters. Your voice deserves to be heard. At DNP, we bring your dream, purpose, and passion to life in print. Whether your manuscript is ready to go or just an idea waiting to unfold, we're here to guide you. With expert editing, stunning graphics, and the knowledge to make your book a reality, we'll help you share it with the world. From book festivals to signings, this is your moment. Let's turn your dream, purpose, and passion into print. Connect with us today and make your dream a reality.
Welcome back to the Four Piece Podcast. I am a huge athlete. I shouldn't say I'm a huge athlete because that's a lie. I love athlete. I love sports. I really do. I love sports. I am an athlete. I am a kind of an athlete, but I always am just honored when I have people like my guest on right now. Danni Mace. She is a professional boxer out of Western Australia. She lives in the city. You live in Perth, right?
Yeah. I'm just out of Perth in the
Yes,
bush a
it is.
little bit, so yeah.
Wow. And so now you are, it is winter, well, almost winter there.
Yeah,
And I'm sitting here right now in my nice t-shirt and you are in a very heavy jacket. And so, I will say that it's funny. I've been watching the news. I always watch Australian news. I'm always paying attention to Australia, and it's just that when I see them and I'm sitting and it's like and literally and I'm speaking Fahrenheit, it's 80 degrees, and then I'm watching you guys just like freezing. I feel bad for you. I really do.
it's really
Do
cold
you
or
like
really hot.
now? It is cold. And now you now Perth is and just this is just for the audience. It doesn't get too cold there though, does it?
No, it doesn't get too cold. It doesn't get below about maybe 4 or 5 degrees. Yeah,
Okay. So it
we get
doesn't snow
frost
there
in the
then, does
morning,
it?
but no, it doesn't snow. No, only it
Good.
snows on the eastern coast of Australia, but not the west coast.
Okay. So now you are I already told everybody you're a professional boxer.
Yeah,
You have a very interesting story. And I
a
want
little.
you to talk. I don't want. We'll talk about boxing in a minute. But what kind of led you to boxing, and what kind of how was your life before boxing?
Um, Look, I grew up with a good family. Um, I was well loved, little dysfunctional, but nothing out of the ordinary. But I rebelled a bit as a teenager. I got bullied a lot, like a lot, which led me to live on the street as a teenager. And then I suffered a few horrific traumas that kind of left me a bit of a broken person for many years. Um, and I actually did some prison time in 2016. I did 12 months in maximum security prison. Um, my neighbour tried to bait my dog, so I kind of took the law into my own hands and used the prison time to fix myself. But when I got out, I was still kind of lost, I guess. So I reached out and found boxing. Um, yeah,
So you said that you kind of and if you don't want to talk about this, I understand. But you kind of said you took the law into your own hands. What happened? If you don't mind me asking.
so I was charged with a couple of charges of assault and home invasion. So yeah,
Wow.
so I got two
That's
years. I served 13 months and 7 months on parole.
Well, and so you
Yeah,
said
I had
that
to fight.
you're yeah, and so you boxing is it seems to me that you've had to fight your whole entire life.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, yeah.
And now you're just and it's great and I'm gonna say it like this. Now you're just getting paid for it. You know,
Yeah, not a
a little
lot,
different.
but yeah, yeah. I don't know. Boxing has a way of helping you find yourself. It keeps you humble, holds you accountable, and yeah. I don't know. I just found my peace with it, I guess.
You know, you told me you said something. I saw a post that you posted about boxing, and it really made me think. Um, you said that I got to say it right, and I almost makes me want to go look for it, but you can probably help me out with this a little bit. It was a picture of a boxer, hands were all bloody, and you said football players and basketball players, it's a game, but boxing's not. What was that? Can you give that to me one more time?
We don't play boxing. I guess it's a dangerous
Yeah.
sport. We we risk our lives every time we get through the ropes. I guess it's not your average. Yeah, it's a
You
serious
know,
sport.
it is it is a dangerous sport, and it is very serious, and a lot of people have gotten seriously hurt.
Yeah.
But there's also something, there is a code of honor in boxing that almost is, it's, boxing is such a different, it's a different sport in general, because the code in boxing, where I've seen people just like destroy each other in the ring, but then have so much respect for each other after it's all over.
Oh,
What
absolutely.
creates that?
It's just it's very primal, I guess. Like it's you, yourself, and you in there, and it's man against man, fist against fist, and no one's going to come save you. And at the end of the day, I think you both, you and your opponent, you feel the blows, you give the blows, and it just a massive respect just comes out of it, I guess. Some
Absolutely.
and you know how hard that you've both worked to get there, and the training that you've put in, and yeah, it is. It's like it's an unwritten code. It's quite a beautiful thing.
It is. It is. And now, you said that did you take up boxing while in prison, or did you take it up after?
After I got out, I fixed a lot of my demons, but I was still a little lost. I kind of needed a place to vent, and I don't know, something was kind of missing, and I was put in touch with Angelo Hyder, great man he is, um, and I was helping set up for the Thunderdome boxing matches. And it was kind of a spontaneous thing. I kind of rang him one day and I just said, Angelo, can you get me a fight? And within about a week and a half, I was lined up for a state title against the Australian champ. And I'd never sparred in my life. So it was, yeah, it was pretty big.
So you went from a whim
Yeah.
to a title fight, just like that.
Against the state Australian and Australasian champion. So, yeah,
Have you ever seen the movie Rock?
shots.
Because that's exactly what happened in the movie Rock. That's exactly what happened in the movie Rock.
Yeah,
It was like it went from Rocky was sitting there on the docks, collecting money for the mob, and then he went straight to that, to being the fighting Apollo Creed. That's when I hear that story. That's exactly what happened. I mean, you said, "Hey, maybe I should box," and you're going for the title. How did that turn out in that fight? How did that
oh,
fight turn out?
it was a fantastic fight. I give her a real good run for her money, but I gassed out in the fourth. So yeah, like maybe a minute 29 into the fourth round, I just couldn't move my arms. I could see everything wide open, but yeah, unfortunately, I got called a TKO. But yeah, I went really, really, really well. It was probably my best fight.
Wow. And so now, how many more? So when is your? Do you have any more fights coming up soon?
I don't. I had three back to back, but now I've got to get some medical clearance. I got pretty badly hurt in my last fight, so I had stitches all down the side of my face. Um, yeah, my last opponent hit like a Mack truck. Caused a bit
Wow.
of damage, so I've had a few health concerns, but I'm hoping to line something up in the next few months. I'm still training against doctor's orders, but
That's what athletes do. Athletes never listen to the doctor. We are the
no,
worst. You're a professional athlete, but I say athletes in general are the worst people to be. We're the worst and the best patients, because we're always going to get them paid. They're always going to get money from us, but we never listen to them. That's for sure.
no.
So you said boxing gives you peace. And that's probably one of the reasons why you're still training, even though you're not supposed to. Um, how is everything going now? You said you had a good family life, but it was kind of, how are you and your family today?
Um, Not too bad. I spent the last 12 months homeless. So my last couple of fights, I've pretty much had nowhere to live, and I've packed up my gym bag and lugged 2 hours a day on public transport and by foot just to get to training, and been blessed enough to have a coach that goes to work all day and then comes home and trains me for free. So it yeah, it's helped me put one foot in front of the other. Life hasn't been the greatest, but people have got it worse, I guess. It's just yeah, boxing keeps me content. Without that, I'm not so happy. But yeah, I'm living in a caravan. Me, my partner, and my dog. So we're happy here. We can't get a house. So, but yeah, life's not too bad.
Right. So you do have a roof over your head at this time and all that good stuff?
Yeah, I got a cozy little tin box.
That's awesome. That is good. That is good. Now boxing. I know we sat there and said, you're getting paid for it, and you said, not too much. As you go through the matches, have the purses gotten bigger, or are they basically just about the same?
Yeah, they've been about the same. So I get about $300 a round, regardless of how many rounds.
Okay.
You go. So four round fight, you get about $1,200. So that's not the greatest, but it's something.
Yes, it is. So now you are now in between boxing. What do you do to make ends meet in the middle of boxing?
Not much. I don't really have time for much else. I've got just a cash job doing landscaping, bit of gardening for the oldies, and that's about it. I spend the rest of my time just training. Yeah.
Wow.
So,
I will say something and I have been following you on Facebook for a good long while. I've been watching you fight. I've been watching the tapes on YouTube. One thing
really?
that I will say about you, Danny, is yeah, I have been watching, and one thing I've been thinking about, Danny, is the fact that you are a tenacious individual. And regardless of your boxing, you are a true champion. There's
Thank
no
you.
doubt in my mind that you're a true champion. I mean, even if you're not winning the rounds, you're winning in life. There are a lot of struggles that you're going through right now. And to even hear this story even more, and to get to know you even more, makes me admire you not only as an athlete. Like I said, I think that you talk about somebody else hitting like a Mack truck. Well, you hit like a Peterbilt. You hit pretty hard as well. And and so I'll tell you this right now. I would not. You look considerably smaller than I am. I'm 175 pounds, and I'll tell you right now, I would not fight you. Not the least bit. I think I would lose. Matter of fact, I know I would lose. But that's okay. But I will say that you are definitely a strong person. You're definitely a strong fighter. For people right now struggling in life, okay, what advice would you give those individuals right now?
Well, that's probably one of the toughest questions I get asked, because I could talk all night about it. Just when you decide to live, you just decide to live, and you just put one foot in front of the other. And you can, I mean, it sounds cliche, but you can literally do anything you put your mind to. If you're physically capable and you just show up, just show up. Just do it if you're tired, do it if it gets better. And there is absolutely life after trauma. There's absolutely life after rock bottom. And yeah, just keep going. Surround yourself with good people. go to a boxing gym. It's, yeah,
You
sort
know,
of puts it in a
Danny,
nutshell.
it does, and I'm going to tell you, Danny, I absolutely admire you. I've had this is going to be I've had over 100 podcast episodes, um, and I don't think I've ever had a guest on my program that literally embodies strength like you do. I really don't. Matter of fact, I know. I will say I've had. I mean, all of my guests are phenomenal guests. All right. What you have shown me, and I should say it this way. I shouldn't say what I said before. I should say that I don't think I've ever been so moved by the power and by the strength that I see in you, Danny. I really haven't. It's just I appreciate you taking time to be on the show, and I know you've got to train and fight. I know that I will be in Perth in April of
Oh,
26.
really?
I I do know that I am going to see my absolute favorite boxer, Danni Mace. I
We have
definitely need to get a
to
picture. I need an
for coffee.
autograph, all that stuff. Yeah, and we
Absolutely,
will
I'll
get in
hold you
touch,
to it.
and I will definitely see you. Now I'm with another boxer. His name is Philip James McDonald. I got to get you guys together.
Oh,
He and I are riding our bike from Sydney to Perth. We're riding bikes from Sydney to Perth for yeah. We're raising awareness for stroke victims in Australia, and
okay.
yeah. So we're riding our bike all the way across.
Wow.
We're two old people, but we're gonna do it. But I'm gonna tell you, when I'm at the end of the ride, I want to see you at the end of that ride for sure. All right. And
Absolutely, I'll
so,
support you 100%.
absolutely. Thank you so much, Danny. Thank you for being on the program. And we will be right back right after this. Again, this I'm going to tell you, there are many boxers in the world, but this boxer right here is somebody you need to watch. We'll be right back right after this. Welcome back to the Four Piece Podcast. I hope you enjoyed our interview. I really do hope you enjoyed that interview. We all struggle. We all do struggle. And to hear her struggle is a little different than everybody else's struggle. And I'm going to tell you why. We all struggle, but some of us struggle with some more resources than others. And I'm listening to her. She has a purpose to be a professional boxer. She said in the interview that boxing is her peace. That's where she finds peace. Now, she is willing to do whatever it takes to become that professional. I don't know if a lot of us know what whatever it takes means. I really do, including myself. And that kind of gave me a it really did give me an eye opener. It refreshed my definition of persistence, her interview, because I sat there and said, okay, so when you're not boxing, no, I'm training, but you're only making this much, I'm gonna get by. That is what we call persistence. That is sacrifice at all costs. That is about as motivation as you can get. If I don't succeed, then ultimately I fail, like really fail. I'm not trying to bring this story up as a story of it is a story that they use for motivation and this, that, and the other. However, the historical context, please do not take this out of play. Hernando Cortez, who was a Spanish conquistador back in the 1500s. Okay, if you listen if you've ever read anything about the Spanish conquistadors, you're going to realize that there was some brutal stuff that went down. And there were a lot of people, indigenous people, all throughout the world that were taken out in very brutal ways during this time period of Spanish colonization. And it was brutal. It was brutal in every sense of the word. It was genocide, to say the least. But I'm not talking about it in this context. So when I talk about Hernando Cortez, I'm not saying that he is, oh my gosh, he's a superhero and all that stuff like that, because he wasn't. He was a brutal man. He did things that at that time period he felt that he had to do. I don't want to get into that part, but that's just the way it is. Anyway, when Cortez came to the New World at the time, he went to what is modern day Mexico. Okay, and the Aztec Empire, a mighty empire, was that was the biggest empire in North America at the time. And what Cortez wanted to do was Cortez wanted to conquer them. So he brought his ships, he brought his men and all that other stuff, and he said, what we are going to do is we are going to eliminate the possibility for retreat. And I want you to go and burn our ships. So they went out into the port or into the bay, wherever the ships were, off the coast of Mexico, and literally torched their ships. They had no recourse. They either won their war. Okay, now again, we could discuss the war itself and all that stuff like that, or they died. That was it. So the motivation to win and go home was far greater than anything they've ever experienced before in their life, not mine. And that's exactly what I see in Danni Mace. Danni Mace has literally burned her ships. She is there is no way for her to retreat. She is going to succeed at what she does, or else. I admire that, because she is literally the embodiment. She is the absolute embodiment of purpose, persistence, and a plan, because she's got a plan and she's got a hell of a passion. Think about this. In her story, she said, I wanted to box. Her first boxing match was against a state champion. Like, here, fight her. Dude, if I'm going into CrossFit, and thanks to Joe Jackson, who you will see later on in this podcast episode, she does have her plot, and I'm gonna talk about. She does have a spot in this podcast episode. Again, she's an inspiring person as well. But when she actually coached me into, Joe Jackson did, into going into CrossFit. When I first started CrossFit here, I came back home to North Carolina. I'm going to be in a competition here in North Carolina. I'm trying to build myself up to the Turf Games competition in Sydney next year, the end of March, which is going to be phenomenal. I'm going to have such a blast. I'm getting much better at CrossFit right now. I'm doing things that I thought I could never possibly do. But I'm going to tell you, it took me a minute to get to the point to where I was doing things that I was never going to do. I didn't go out and say, I want to do elite athlete stuff in CrossFit when I never did it. And the reason why I'm bringing that up is because Danni, that's what she did. She is like, I want to fight, and I'm going to fight the best fighter in my area right now. And she fought. She lost, but she fought. The video, all you got to do is type Danni Mace boxing, and it's Danni Mace, MACE boxing. You will see the match from beginning to end. It's on YouTube, and I'm going to tell you, you know what? She did lose the fight, but you know what? She did not lose it because she was bad. She just lost it because, again, she didn't have the experience at the time that the state champion did. She came in and said, this is what I want to do, and this is what I want to do right off the bat. She ate the whole elephant at one time. I admire her. I said at the end of this, I said it a million times, that she is a true champion, and she is. She is absolutely one of the strongest, if not the strongest woman I've ever seen. She's gone through a lot, and you know what? She keeps moving forward. She keeps on doing what she has to do in spite of, like I said, and it's funny because I do not ever want to change this podcast episode. She's going to watch this when she builds herself up to where she wants to be. She's going to go back in this podcast, at least the graininess of the podcast, the graininess, not the message. The message is even, that shows where she was. But in this podcast, you're going to see that at one point, she had poor internet connection. And I know that sounds to me and you, that sounds like, okay, well, poor internet connection, who cares? But in that case, in the instance of what we were doing at the time, that was the best internet she had. And when she sits there and she keeps on fighting, I want that to be an inspiration to you. I definitely know she's inspiring me. And again, that is not the last time you will hear about her. I can guarantee that is not the last time you'll hear about her. I am going to be her #1 fan. I cannot wait to see her next year. Or it's getting closer and closer. It's like 10 months now. When I see her in Perth, by that time she would have a couple more fights under her belt. And she's going to have some wins under her belt as well. I'll tell you right now, she did win. She won my heart for sure. She won my heart, and I know my podcast audience, and I know that she's going to win the heart of many, many, many of you. She's a great person. Her name is Danni Mace. Again, that is fantastic. When we come back, we are going to have some inspiration from Joe Jackson. We'll be right back right after this.
Hey guys, Joe Jackson here, performance architect, talking to you today about uncommon thinking for inevitable success. During these sessions, I am going to be taking 5 minutes of your time and we'll be talking about all things uncommon thinking. It can range from health to mindset to understanding your neurology. We'll talk about your biology and how you have a pharmacy in your body and how you can learn to utilize that for the success that you deserve. In each session, what I'm going to do is this. I'm going to put 5 minutes on the timer, and what we are going to do is take no more than 5 minutes for each session. When the beeper goes off, I stop. So the challenge is going to be for me every single time to get it right. Each one of these I'm also going to do in one take. There's no perfectionism here. Uncommon does not require us to be prissy and perfect. What it requires us to do is what we're here to do. And in this case, it's to get a message across. So hang out with me on Trunnis's podcast while I talk to you about the uncommon mindset that you need for inevitable success. And today, I'm going to start now. Countdown is on. I want to introduce you today to what I call the CEO blueprint. You are, in fact, the CEO of your life. You are responsible for what happens in your life. You are accountable for everything that happens in your life. And you are also the one with the authority. We call it agency. Agency is choice. You get to make choices, which as a result, bring out consequences, decisions, outcomes, all of these great things that life is all about. So grab a pen and paper if you don't already have one, because I'm going to get you to write down 6 things. Number 1, each one of these elements is critical to what I call the CEO blueprint. As a CEO of your life, you have 6 different elements that you should constantly be assessing yourself against. And we will talk about these a lot, but let me introduce you. The first element is health. As you can imagine, your body is important. There is no bigger testament to how you treat yourself than your physical appearance. Your body gives away practically everything about you. It talks to what's going on beneath the surface. It talks to how you treat your body. It talks to what you eat. It is a walking, talking billboard of everything about you. So when you're CEO of your body and your health, you need to be mindful of things like what you put into your body. We're not just talking about food and water here. We're also talking about our 5 senses: sight, smell, hearing, taste, touch. All of these things impact your body. So be mindful of those. The second one is finances. Anything that you're not in control of controls you. A person that has uncommon thinking has control of their finances in that they know what's coming. It doesn't mean that you're always in the black and you're ahead, but what it does mean is you know what's coming and you plan for it. The best part about this is because you plan for your finances, you know what's coming, you don't have that sense of dread. You'll feel more in control and you are exerting your agency. Third thing, environment. Environment is everything. And environment is not just about your home. It's about how you live. It's about your car. It's about your bedroom. It's about your office. It's about the places that you go regularly, and are they helping you or hindering you? As a CEO, you only want to be in environments that are good for you, that build that healthy, uncommon mindset. So take a look around at some of the places that you spend time in. Are they really good for you? Are they healthy? Are they clean? Do they make you feel good? What energy do they bring into your life? These sorts of micro decisions will make a huge difference to the type of life that you lead. Number 4, mind and soul. Now, you might not think that mind and soul is important, but it absolutely is. Ask a man that's done everything in his life to build wealth and has never taken care of his relationships, never taken care of his connection. And he'll tell you the same story every single time. I wish I spent less time making money and more time being with people. Mind and soul is critical, which is why we all have some kind of fundamental belief. We are powered by 3 things: our brain, our heart, and our guts. And our soul lives in here. And we need to make sure that we pay attention to it. There's a reason why there are so many religions in the world. Your mind and soul is important. Number 5. Number 5 is relationship. Your relationships with your friends, with your family, with your intimate partner will completely direct the type of life that you have. If you have relationships that are negative in your life, they're going to constantly detract from you. They will be a burden that you will carry, and they will inhibit your ability to live that uncommon life. I always recommend you take a look at your relationships and work out which ones are giving to you and which ones are taking from you. And now we've got number 6. Now, this is the one that I always forget, because there's always one that I forget. We've got environment, we've got career. There we go. Last one, career. What are you doing with your life? Do you like what you do? Are you finding fulfillment in the job that you have chosen? Whether it's a career where you work for someone else or a business where you work for yourself, as a CEO, you want to make sure that you are getting some kind of enjoyment out of it and that you have purpose. And here we go. 3, 2, 1. 5 minutes. All right, I hope that was helpful. Please write down the CEO blueprint. We're going to come back to that time and time again as we talk about what you need to do to have uncommon thinking to live that inevitable success. See you guys.
Grief is a language we all understand, but healing begins with shared stories. Stories of friends and family loss brings together powerful first-hand accounts from those who've experienced unimaginable loss and found strength on the other side. Whether you've walked that path or love someone who has, this book is a tribute to love, resilience, and remembrance. Available now on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and wherever books are sold. Stories of friends and family loss, because no one should grieve alone.
Welcome back to the final segment of the 4 Ps podcast. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you're inspired today. I'm telling you, I am inspired by the whole entire episode. I am really inspired by this episode. I'm totally inspired by Danni Mace, and I continue to be inspired by my dear friend, Joe Jackson. She is phenomenal. And, like I said, I just want you to know, Joe, I'm saying it right now. Every single day I am doing CrossFit in some way, shape, or form. Either I'm doing it with my trainer or I am doing what I was trained on my own, but I do it every day. If you look behind you, you'll see a book with a picture on it. I know it's in blue. If you guys ever know, blue is my favorite color. Anyway, it's the 4 Ps of You. It is a brand new expanded edition. It is available on Amazon. It's available at Barnes and Noble. It's available anywhere you buy books. It is the expanded edition of the 4 Ps of You. And if you love stories like Danni Mace's, you are inspired and driven towards transformation, those are some real stories, real purpose in there, just like this podcast, real stories for real purpose. I will see you next week, and I promise you, and I also promise Wes, I've known him for a million years. I swear, I knew him since Ronald Reagan was president of the United States. That shows how old I am. It shows how old he is. He has a new song that's out called Getting Old. Very, very appropriate. And we'll be talking to him about his love for music, his passion, and just things that he has learned along the way that will help you move forward and do what you are passionate about and follow your dreams as well. Talk to you next week. Have a great one. Bye-bye.